Dolphins versus the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Let's talk about this. What is up, Finn fans? Got a good preview here for you. Got my guy from 5 Sports Talk. Big Chicago Bears fan. He also talks about other sports, but big Chicago Bears fan. He's got a nice YouTube channel. I have him on. He's going to help me break down the Dolphins versus the Bears. Big game. Every game for me for the Miami Dolphins is big, no matter the opponent. We're going to jump into that. And then I got, obviously, injury report, breakdown. We're going to look at PFF again because you guys really liked that breakdown. 5 things, and I'm going to give you my prediction. But before we jump into that, I do have to shout out, somebody got themselves some new merch, and that's David. Look at David over there. I think he's at the Hall of Fame here, standing next to Larry Zonka. If you want to grab yourself some DDW merch, you'll see the image below the video. Grab yourself some, and if you do, send it to me. I'd love to shout you out for helping support the channel. Also, I have to thank today's sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Prize Picks. You guys know about Prize Picks. I talk about them constantly. They're a daily fantasy app where you can go in and you can choose from different sports and put in. I'm rambling, but let me just show you. Let me pop it up. I'm going to show you. I'm going to slide over. I'm going to show you. Here we go. So you got Prize Picks. I'm on the computer. You can also do it on your computer as well. It's not only just on your phone. You can also do it on your computer here. You see you got NBA, college football, NHL, NBA 1, NHL 1H, PBA. They go all the way over. You got tennis. You got MMA, all the way over. We're focused on the NFL here. They are looking at Thursday night. What you do is you go and you pick up to 5 players. So we'll pick Jalen Hurts here. We'll pick Davis Mills here. Then we can come over here. You got rushing yards, receiving yards, receptions, field goals made, kicking points, all this good stuff. Let's go to receiving yards. We'll do let's do Devontae Smith, and let's do Brandon Cooks, and then for one more, let's do field goals, and we'll do Jake Elliott. And then if you look over here, you got Jalen Hurts, 236.5 yards. Do you think he's going to get more or less? Davis Mills, 218.5, more or less. Devontae Smith, receiving yards, 52.5, more or less. Brandon Cooks, 58.5, more or less. And then Jake Elliott, field goals made, 1.5 field goals made. You think it's more? I think it'll be more. You come in here, you place your bets, you hit, place your entry. If you use the promo code DDW, you get 100% of your deposit up to $100 matched. You can win up to 10 times your money. So go check it out. Prize Picks. You can either download the app or, like I am, you can go to prizepicks.com. Check it out. Great fantasy daily app. Alrighty, let's jump into this and let's talk to my guy, 5 Sports Talk, about the Chicago Bears and what their strengths and weaknesses are. Got my buddy here, 5 Sports Talk, Chicago Bears finest. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. Listen, I'm hyped for this week's matchup. I've been meaning to talk to you since I saw this game on the schedule, so let's get into it.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a really good one. If you guys don't know, he doesn't just do the Bears. He's a Bears fan, but he doesn't just do the Bears. You cover the NFL in general, right?
Yeah, I cover the NFL in general. I even do the NBA as well, but the Bears are kind of the bread and butter here.
So if you haven't yet, go over, check him out, hit that subscribe button. Great content over there. Yeah, Dolphins heading to Chicago on Sunday. How are you feeling? First, I'll get to the biggest thing. How are you feeling with the 3 trades that the Chicago Bears did the past couple of days?
Yeah, it's been crazy, right? Just keeping up with all of the news and stuff like that. But I got to tell you, I'm so hyped because the Bears defense actually got significantly worse. So you would think, oh, so you're happy about your team getting worse? Yeah, because long-term wise, it's better because you're taking the defense and stripping it down and using those assets to surround Justin Fields with talent, which is exactly what I wanted Ryan Poles as a general manager to do. And he seems to be finally doing it. We don't have to worry about, running out guys like Equinemius St. Brown or Dante Pettis, these reclamation projects, we actually get a bona fide receiver in Chase Claypool. Now, I'm not saying he's a star or an absolute, stud, but I think he's a guy who's a clear upgrade and someone we badly needed. And yeah, sad to see Roquan go, sad to see Robert Quinn go, but those guys just didn't fit the timeline. I mean, Robert Quinn certainly didn't. Roquan just wanted to get paid a lot. And I just feel like it doesn't make sense to pay a guy who's an off-the-ball linebacker, doesn't make as much impact, that much money when your future is Justin Fields.
So would you say right now your weakness is your defense, being that you don't have those two guys?
Doug, our weakness was already the run defense. Now we're just flat out terrible everywhere. I mean, the secondary is probably decent with Jalen Johnson and Jaquan Brisker, but it's bad. It's bad.
Now, do you think that they're like, because you guys have a pretty decent record, do you guys think that with these trades they're kind of canning in the season, or do you think there's still a possibility to be somewhat competitive, especially in the NFC North, where it's just it's like the Vikings and then you guys are kind of clumped together?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I feel like the wins are just gravy at this point. Okay. What I've been most excited about, what everyone's been most excited about, is the Justin Fields development. And the last 2 weeks, like, we lost a game against the Cowboys, but the fact that the Bears just put up points felt like a win. The week before on Monday Night Football beating the Patriots, I mean, no one saw that coming. So yeah, the wins are nice. It's kind of like gravy. It's funny enough, I was saying that before the season, everybody was high on the Lions winning a bunch of games, like 7-8 games. They haven't won more than one. And the Bears weren't even supposed to win more than like a handful of games. We already have 3. So it's just extra gravy, if you will. Not really looking forward to them in terms of expectations, but we'll take them when we can get them.
What would you say the strength of the Chicago Bears is?
Right now, the running game.
Okay.
I think the run game for the Bears has been incredible. Like, we have a 1-2 punch in David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert that a lot of teams don't have. They usually have one back, or they'll usually have not that great of a run game. And the thing is, our backup might be better than our starter, right? Khalil Herbert's really, really freaking good. Now, the thing is, Monty, a lot of people don't know this. The reason he's a starter is because he's also good in pass protection, right? And so we need him out there. Herbert's not as good. He's probably a better pure runner, but you got to be an overall all back to obviously get the most playing time. But yeah, the run game has been by far the best thing about the Bears.
Justin Fields, like you were saying, his development, he's getting there. I've even noticed at the beginning of the season it's kind of slow a little bit. I watched that Patriots game for obvious reasons, and he was on. What's your thoughts on Justin, where he is right now, where he could get better? What's your thoughts on him?
Yeah, no, great question. I'm excited about his development. Couple of things. One, the play calling has really changed. The offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, is finally starting to call the plays to Justin's strength. So if you noticed, even in that first Patriots game, I'll mention the very first drive, it was, I think, 3rd and short. They get Justin rolling out, and he completes an easy pass. So just stuff like that where he's best probably outside the pocket, play actions, bootlegs, things like that. That's what the offense is predicated on. Now, Justin's gotten a lot better these past 2 weeks just because I feel like he's been in control, and he's really kind of just letting the game come to him. I don't see the jitterness in the pocket that I used to. He's just really been trying to take advantage. But also, he's still using his legs. It's not like he's getting away from his strength. So I'm really excited about his development. He's stacking together good performances. And honestly, like, that's really the most exciting thing about the Bears, just watching the development of Justin Fields every week.
Now, the Dolphins are coming in with the best wide receiver tandem in the NFL. Do you think that the Bears secondary has any chance of containing Hill and Waddle?
So, did you ask just Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, or one?
Both of them. But
short answer, probably not. Okay, but I want to say this though. Nobody does. Nobody can cover those two guys. They're ridiculous. But I will say this: like, looking back at the Dolphins games, I'm really going to say the Dolphins are undefeated because when Tua has started and finished the game, you guys haven't lost, and he's your starting quarterback. So the only team that really came close to actually beating you guys was the Bills, and that was a tricky game, a weird game. So I'll say this: no one can stop those two guys, but my hope is we just let one of them eat. and stop the other one. Because I think in that Bills game, Jalen Waddle had 100 receiving yards
Mm.
over, but Tyreek Hill had a subpar game like 33 or something. Like that's my best thing. Pick your poison. At least take one of them out.
Yeah, I agree because if you let against the Lions, they both ate, and then in that second half, they Tua just did whatever he wanted to. He threw to whoever he wanted to. Dolphins secondary is banged up.
Yeah.
How do you think they will stack up against you guys? Is Claypool's playing, right? I'm assuming.
We haven't gotten confirmation yet. I'm expecting him to play. It's not like he was traded on like a Saturday where it's a
Yeah.
quick turnaround. So I think he'll play. And it might not be full snaps. He'll probably be limited just to learn the playbook and whatnot. But look, the Bears receivers outside of Claypool, you got Darnell Mooney, who's solid, and then really past that, it's not really a lot. I would tell you this much: our offensive game plan is still predicated on the run, which is, I guess, not a good thing against you guys because the defense is very good against the rush, Dolphins defense. But since the secondary is banged up, I've talked about this as well. I think you got to be aggressive because when the Dolphins get the ball, they're going to put up points. So we can't be afraid to air it out.
Yeah, that was my thoughts going into that Lions game because the Lions have a good offense and a good defense. So I was like, got to score. You got to score. And this seems like one of those games again because, my biggest fear with the Bears is Justin Fields. He can take a game over, and Dolphins don't do well against those mobile quarterbacks. Overall, final thoughts. What's your thoughts on this game? Who do you have winning?
So thinking long and hard about this one, I'll say this. The Dolphins offense is clearly superior. We know that. The receivers they have, Tua's playing at an elite level, 12 TDs, 3 interceptions. Like, Tua doesn't get enough credit, by the way. I just want to say, like, he has been really good this season. And I love your coach, Mike McDaniel. Like, before Tua went down, I had put a ticket for him for coach of the year, and it looked really good until, Tua goes down and you guys lose a couple of games. So I love your coach as well. And this game's kind of tricky because, you're talking about in Chicago. Sometimes you can't count on the weather, so it tends to be kind of tricky. But I don't expect the weather to play a big factor this week. It's really just going to be about, can the Bears keep up with the Dolphins offense? Because I think you guys will put up points. And look, the defense just got worse, right? We just got worse. You don't lose Roquan Smith and Robert Quinn and get better. So overall, as much as I want to do it, I can't pick the Bears to win this one. I think this is going to be a shootout, a little bit of a shootout like we saw last week. My final score for this game, Doug, is 33-28 Dolphins.
I'll take that. As long as we get to do, take a knee and I don't have to have a heart attack like the Ravens game, I'll take that all day.
I do want to ask you one quick thing, though. If the Bears were to pull off an upset, how does it happen, barring an injury?
I think Justin Fields. I think the Bears come up with a critical stop on defense because it always happens. It's never, you never go really a whole game without punting. If it were to happen, it'd be like the Bears came up with a critical stop and then Justin Fields, either with his legs or blown coverage, he just last minute wins the game. That's how I can see it happening.
Well, cross my fingers on that one.
but thank you so much for stopping by. Like I said, go check him out. He doesn't just cover the Bears. Bears are his bread and butter, but he covers NFL and, like you said, NBA as well. Bulls fan, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything Chicago. So make sure you guys check it out, man. I'm sure you'll have the link in the description. Thank you for that, Doug. Appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.
All right, but I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, guys.
It's great to talk to my guy. I've known him for a minute. We've been friends for a minute. So it was great to actually, sit down, have a conversation with him and pick his brain about them. So now let's go into the injury report. I'll pop up the Miami Dolphins first because it's flipping huge. Look at this. Again, I record this Thursday night, so Friday hasn't happened, but the only do not participates was River Craycraft and Austin Jackson. Other than that, either limited or full participation. Limited for Teron Armstead, Tanner Connor, Raekwon Davis, Clayton Fedulum, Eric Rowe, Brandon Shell, Durham Smythe, and Andrew Van Ginkel. Full practices for Jerome Baker, Javon Holland, Emmanuel Ogbah, Sealer, Jalen Waddle, and Christian Wilkins, and then Bradley Chubb, Xavier Howard, Melvin Ingram, John Jenkins, Raheem Mostert, and Jeff Wilson Jr. Full practices. They all got rest days. A lot of people saw our injury report and got scared a little bit, but if you see 6 players we're on rest days, so it probably should look more like this. And it doesn't look so scary. You know what I'm saying? Actually, it should look like this. And that doesn't look so scary. Does it? That's not as scary. You know what I'm saying? If you're looking up at this, that doesn't look as scary, right? But actually, it should look more like this. That's not as scary, right? I'll even pop up Chicago's with it, right? That's not that scary. Few on there, limited. We're banged up, obviously, but it's not that scary. Only 2 didn't participate. I expect everyone to play besides Austin Jackson and River Craycraft, which sucks. I think River's doing really well. Let me get back up here. You got the Chicago Bears over here. Let me make theirs bigger because I'm small. They have a concussion. Larry Borum didn't participate other than that, limited for Kyle Gordon and Eddie Jackson, and the full participant for Tevin Jenkins. So that is their injuries. Again, ours looked scary. It looked long, but most of it had to do with vet rest day. A lot of you guys asked me, is Bradley Chubb and is Wilson going to be playing? Yes, Bradley Chubb and Wilson will be playing. If it was a trade where it was like, I know you can't play twice. So say that Denver played Thursday and we traded for them on Friday, they wouldn't be able to play on Sunday. And also I think if it was a shorter, like if we traded for them on like Friday or whatever, and it's a short week, they probably won't play. But I'm pretty sure we're going to see Bradley Chubb out there. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Wilson out there. So now I'm going to do the fancy little doodad that I normally do, which is a little bit of this. And we are going to look at PFF's comparison here. So first we got the offense versus their defense. Tyreek Hill, number 1 receiver. Tua Tagovailoa, number 3 receiver. Jalen Waddle, number 6 receiver. Like, those are our trifectas right there. But even Raheem Mostert is starting to come into his all. His numbers going up. Hunt, Williams, Armstead, 10, 3, 9. Fantastic. I think Shell's doing really good at right tackle as well. Jones is going to be replacing Liam Eichenberg, supposedly at left tackle. I saw Dieter go in there when he went down, so we'll keep an eye on left guard, not tackle. Doug, you stupid. Gesicki, 19th ranked. That's not too bad. And you look at their defense here, right? This is going to be a problem for them, and we'll get to rankings and breakdowns and stuff. I kind of flipped it, but this is going to be a problem for them, especially with us running on them. If this is the matchup, that's going to be a problem for them. I could see Johnson potentially covering Hill, but you heard what my guy said. Take one out and, get beat by the other. We'll see how that pans out. Even without Roquan Smith here, their line, Morrow's, Thomas is decent. Sanborn, not bad. Jackson and Brisker, good safeties there. And then if we flip it, come over here, you click defense, Shazam. Their offense is pretty good. Look at this offensive line. It's pretty decent. 10 and 8 and 11. Pretty decent offensive line. Again, this is PFF. You could take it however you want. You say Claypool. How much will we see Claypool? I don't know. Learning the offense might be a little different, especially at wide receiver. St. Brown and Mooney. I'm hearing good things about Mooney here. Fields. We'll get to Fields. Montgomery, even Herbert. They have a good running game. We'll get to that in about 2 seconds. But you look at our defense here. Bradley Chubb added in. Very, very good defensive front. Linebacker core. They're good against the run. And then Holland and Fedulum here. Holland, 28th safety. And then you got Kohu. Decent. No Igbenogany. Not bad. Xavier Howard's kind of struggle bus city a little bit right now. But again, let me make myself bigger, and we'll talk about breakdowns and where the Dolphins can exploit them, right? So we're looking at Finn's offense versus Bears defense, and Bears offense versus Finn's defense. So when it comes to the Finn's offense, they are 16th ranked in points for. They went up. They were 19th ranked before the Lions game. 7th ranked in yards. That went up. They were 10th ranked before the Lions game. 3rd in passing. That stayed the same. And rushing, They went up from 29th ranked to 28th ranked. Got a little bit better. You're facing a defense that is 19th ranked in points for, 16th ranked in yards. They're 5th ranked in the NFL in passing, which was interesting to me, but they are 31st ranked rush defense. You already know what one of my 5 things is going to be. When it comes to third downs, the Dolphins are 15th ranked with converting 40.4%, which went up from 23. So they did really well against the Detroit Lions, kind of boosted that up, facing a defense that gives up 50.5% of third downs. That's 31st in the NFL. So we should have a decent time converting third downs. Red zone, 4th. We went up from 5th with 69.6%, facing a defense that is 26th in the NFL, allowing 68% of red zone trips to be essentially touchdowns. Then when you flip it, the Chicago Bears points are 23rd. They're 23rd ranked in the NFL in scoring points. The Dolphins defense is 22nd. That actually went up from 23rd. They did a little bit better. The yardage allowed, the yardage for the Chicago Bears offense is 27th. That's not good. Dolphins defense is 23rd. That actually went down. We were 21st. So, Detroit kind of did a little hurting on us in that first half. Passing, the Chicago Bears are 32nd in the NFL in passing. The Dolphins defense is 26th. That went down from 24. They're rushing. They are number 1 rushing team in the NFL. The Miami Dolphins are 6th. That went up from 7. And then their third down conversion rate, they are 13th ranked in the NFL, converting on 40.6% of their third downs. The Dolphins are 24th on defense, allowing 41.8%. That kind of stayed the same. No, that went down. They were 22nd right before the Lions game. And then red zone, the Chicago Bears are 23rd, only getting 52% of their red zones in the end zone. And the Dolphins are 28th, stayed the same with 69.2%. So yeah, you're looking at this, and the battle that's going to be interesting is their rushing versus our rushing defense, the number 1 versus the number 6 defense, and then their passing defense versus our passing offense. They're ranked 5th, we're ranked 3rd, but we also do have to take in consideration they do not have Roquan Smith anymore, and they do not have Robert Quinn anymore. That will affect getting to the quarterback, and that will affect stopping the run and their coverage. So that is something that we also really do have to take in effect. Now let's jump into the 5 things that the Miami Dolphins have to do if they want to beat the Chicago Bears team in Chicago. Now, real quick, I normally don't talk about the weather, but it's supposed to be like 65 and sunny in Chicago on Sunday when the Dolphins head there. So it's nothing kind of like that rain-soaked game in Chicago that the Bears won. So I don't think the weather should be that big of a factor. But the number 1 thing, and again, it's not from most important to least important, it's just as I'm doing my research, as I'm talking to Chicago Bears people, I'm jotting down things, kind of listening to what they're saying, jotting it down. But the number 1 thing on my list, we have to contain Justin Fields, right? Justin Fields is getting better. You're seeing him doing better. He's making some of the throws. But to me, the biggest asset that Justin Fields has, that if you take it away, it makes his life difficult, is his legs, right? He is very good at opening the field, running. He's kind of like a younger Josh Allen, because they're both kind of inaccurate. If we contain, and I'm talking contain not as in like limit the amount of passing yards, I'm talking contain as in keep his butt in that pocket. Especially now with Bradley Chubb being able to get some pressure on him, Phillips and AVG and Emmanuel Ogbah. Keep him contained. You keep him contained and you force him to stay in that pocket, make his reads and make his throws, that's going to hurt the Chicago Bears. Where Fields is doing really well is his RPOs, they're getting him out in the open field, rolling him out, having him run for first downs, all that stuff. So you want to contain Justin Fields and you want to force him to stay in the pocket, make the reads and make the throws. And then hopefully force him to cause some turnovers. So that's the number 1 thing on my list. The number 2 thing on my list, we got to stop the run. They have the number 1 rushing offense with Herbert and Montgomery. We have to stop the run. Now, we have the 6th ranked rush defense, so it's going to be a nice battle to see if the Dolphins can stop the run and force them to be one-dimensional, and we can unleash Chubb, and we can unleash Phillips, and we can unleash our pass rush on him, then it could very well help this team. So it takes their offense off the field. So, really limit the run, and hopefully you could stop the run, because that's where their offense predicates on. They build off the run and their play action, and then you're focusing on them, and then Justin Fields. Also, Justin Fields is a big part of their rushing. It's kind of like Josh Allen was last year, where you look at the Bills' rushing yards and all that stuff, and you're like, wow, they're really good. Most of it had to do with Josh Allen running. It's kind of same thing with Justin Fields. Yeah, Herbert and Montgomery aren't bad, but Justin Fields also, adds to that rushing attack. Number 3 thing the Miami Dolphins need to do, they need to run the ball. You are facing one of the worst rush defenses in the NFL. Run the ball. Have them all of a sudden have to not only worry about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, but now you got to worry about Wilson, and you got to worry about Mostert blasting through the middle. Run the ball. Play action opens up. We eat the clock up. We limit their time. If you notice that last week against Detroit, the Dolphins just kept that ball, right? It limited the amount of times that the Lions had a chance to take the lead back. Run the ball. I would love to see another 100-yard rushing game. And the last one was at the Jets, I think. Mostert had like 110 yards. I'd like to see another one. I also like to see Mostert continue to build on his rushing ability. And like I said, we have Wilson back there now. Number 4 thing that the Dolphins need to do if they want to beat the Chicago Bears team, no penalties. Like, do I really need to go into a full spiel about number 4? I feel like us as Dolphin fans already know what I mean when I say no penalties. It means no penalties, but you kind of know why. Look at the Vikings game. Look at the Lions game. Look at the Jets game. Penalties played a big factor in 2 of those losses, and the struggle we had last week. No penalties. It's really clean. And number 5 and final thing, in my opinion, that the Dolphins need to do if they want to beat the Chicago Bears team, continue to a success. He has been playing very well. I think his worst game he played was the Steelers game. Other than that, he's had over 100 passer rating. He's been very efficient, very smart with the football. We had the Ravens game where he threw that one interception was just like a miracle, the fact that he caught it, but it was into double coverage. But he's been playing very smart, efficient football. And 12 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. He's going to drop interceptions. Everyone has dropped interceptions. Like, if I really go through every quarterback and talk about how many dropped interceptions they have, I'd be here. It'd be like an hour-long video. It's like the most, it's the most layup you could. He has like 5 dropped interceptions. So did Josh Allen versus the Dolphins, but you don't hear anyone talking about it. Zip the lip. But continue the success. Be smart with the football. Slide. You notice he slid a little bit last week. Be smart with the football. Get it to the man. Be a little bit more accurate on your deep balls. I'll say that. I understand that the last game he was kind of had pressure in his face, like on the one where he threw it to Tyreek Hill on the right side. He had the corner jumping in his face on a blitz, so he had to really get that off. And the other one, Hutchinson, was on his back, so he really couldn't plant his feet to throw the football. But just continue his success. But that's the 5 things I have that the Dolphins need to do if they want to beat the Chicago Bears team. I don't know what words just came out of my mouth. If they want to beat this Chicago Bears team. That being said, here's my prediction for the game. The Dolphins, the biggest thing is containing Justin Fields, stopping the run. They do those 2 things, they're going to win the game. But if Justin Fields has a field day, no pun intended, but a pun intended, and then they could just run all over us, it's going to be a long game. Will the Dolphins lose in that aspect? Not necessarily. We got our butts kicked in the first half against Detroit, and then we came back and won that game. So never say never with this team, but I will say that without having Roquan Smith and without having Robert Quinn, that does hurt Chicago. They seem to be more focused on the future than they are focused on now. They want to see what Justin Fields can develop into more than they're worried about winning now. That's what I got from them trading Roquan and Robert Quinn. I know Roquan, he's wanting like $20 million a year. So they're like, hey, we're never going to pay him that. So let's at least get something for him, which they did. But it seems like they're more interested in the development of Justin Fields, and if the winning comes along with it, it's like a perk. Whereas the Dolphins are in it to win it now, so show it. Don't come out all lackadaisical. Don't come out, half, and do what you did against Detroit. Show it. Show that you want to win now. Show that you're 5-3 facing a 3-5 team. Play like you should be playing. Catch the ball. Stop, the drops and the penalties and the false starts and all this stuff need to stop. Play like you should be playing. The Dolphins should beat the Chicago Bears team. I have them beating them 28-17. Their pass defense is decent, so that's why I have around 28 points. And I don't expect us to fully stop their run game and Justin Fields. That's why I said they'll get 17 points. But the Dolphins should beat them. Hopefully Mike McDaniel went in, and he was right. At the Vikings game, they had a ton of penalties, and all of a sudden you look at the Steelers game, they didn't have that many. He does go back, and he looks at it, and he fixes it, and he in practice, he works on stopping the specific penalties. So hopefully that continues. So I do have the Dolphins beating the Chicago Bears 28-17, going to a 6-3 record, and then we head to Cleveland. No, we're home for Cleveland, then a bye, and then we're home for Houston. So we got a nice 3-stretcher of being home, which will really help this team. This is the big game, a very big game. Let's win this game. Let's get to 6-3. Let's enjoy it. But other than that, guys, I will see you Sunday, 1 o'clock. I will be live with my father. Miami Dolphins taking on the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Going to be a good one. But other than that, like usual, stay classy and fence up.